Alrighty.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Prove It. We are happy to have Shannon Q with us this evening on our Discord server. We actually got everything to work. We also have Curved and Terman with us, and my channel partner Ryan. Um, and first of all, let's introduce ourselves. My name is David, and my channel partner. Go ahead.
My name's Ryan. How y'all doing?
And we're going to be talking, hopefully, about methods to delve into what conspiracy theorists, how they think, and maybe ways to help them get out of their conspiracy theory, if there is a way to do that, because there's also that theory. And Kurt, would you like to go next?
Hi, I'm Curved.
Okay. And Shannon?
Hi, I'm Shannon Q, and I am a part of a channel called Apologia, and I also am the co-host of the Heathen Hour podcast on Godless Cranium's channel, and I am the, I guess, sort of host of Let's Talk About You with Shannon Q on Steve McRae's channel, Debate.
Yes.
And I have a bit of a background in psychology, specifically pertaining to communication theory, so I'm really interested in this discussion.
And also with us, we have Terman. Terman, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm too boring.
You're not too boring. No one's too boring. But
No such thing.
no such thing. But for a couple months, both Terman and I have been moderating a chat on a channel by the name of Soundly, and Soundly has made some very interesting observations of the Earth with basically just some cameras and telescopes, and he has found curve over Lake Pontchartrain. So we've encountered all kinds of just unbelievable. I hate to I hate to actually try to diagnose anybody, but it just the term cognitive dissonance comes to mind. It really does, because I mean Soundly has done an incredible job of actually showing all kinds of arguments against the common things that we hear in this conspiracy theory, and they just don't want to hear it. And I've heard everything from you can't reach them. I've heard people lash out at them. Curved, you've probably heard more than I about this.
I get all over them.
Yeah, like it's we try to tell them how it works. We try to pin them down on each point, and frankly, we're getting frustrated, Shannon. So, help! You're muted, Shannon.
Sorry, I have a few questions. So, when you're interacting with them, do you go in with a strategy, or is your strategy essentially that, you're wrong? You're wrong because XYZ. I have this list of facts that essentially proves you're wrong. Here's my list of facts. How can you refute them? Is that essentially the strategy? Like, or do you have a different strategy than that? Aside from showing them contradictory evidence or something that refutes their claim directly,
Well,
what's your strategy?
I ask them what they believe. Like I try to do an epistemological approach. Like, hey, what do you believe,
Okay.
and why do you believe it? And I've actually tried to walk them through. Okay, this is how I determine from my standpoint how the Earth is actually round. How I don't rely on NASA or any other external evidence other than my knowledge of geometry and so forth.
Okay. For certain. Okay, so you're demonstrating to them how you came to your, from what they would perceive, belief.
Yeah,
Is
and
that fair to
I'm
say?
using logic and reason that they profess to have from the get-go.
For sure. So have you delved into how they come to their beliefs, ignoring the facts? And I know that sounds crazy because why would you ignore facts? But the fact of the matter is that that's not how most people come to hold the beliefs that they have. It's not necessarily based on what you would perceive as facts, because obviously nobody wakes up in the morning and thinks to themselves, I'm going to be crazy, right?
Right.
They don't think I'm going to believe the most ridiculous thing unless they're trolling. If they wholeheartedly believe it, they believe in it for a reason. So have you delved in at all to the reasons for their mode of thinking?
I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I try to. I've asked them, how do you know? Like when they say they come in, sometimes they'll say the Earth is flat, and I'd be like, how do you know?
Okay.
I don't know.
And what kind of answers do you get?
Um, sometimes they'll just say there's no proof. There's no evidence of the curve, even though they're looking at a stream that literally shows evidence of a curve.
Yeah, like there's Starman. He's driving a car around the Earth. How could you not see it?
Well, that's not. It's not. It's even simpler than that. I mean, it's Soundly's stream of water of stuff disappearing over the horizon when he changes his altitude. It's just, I don't know how you can look at Soundly's videos and not say, okay, yeah, I get it. So
For sure.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like, what are you not seeing in that? How could you? And they say, well, it's CGI. They come up with this list of, and it seems to be a very similar list for everybody. It's an exhaustive list of, oh, it's CGI. He's in on the conspiracy. He's a shill, and so forth.
So the main crux of it seems to be that they don't have trust in the sources that refute their claim.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that. Like, I've seen him. Like, I've given him evidence, like pictures of Himawari 8, for example, which is it's a Japanese weather satellite, basically.
Sure.
It's geosynchronous over Japan, so it takes a complete picture of the Earth every 10 minutes in
Right.
10K resolution, or 11K resolution rather. It's beautiful
Mm-hmm.
pictures every 10 minutes, and it's used to save lives during tsunamis. It's demonstrable that this thing actually does something. It has in the past, and it will continue to in the future, probably. I mean, I can't predict with certainty that the future is going to happen, because no one can, but it's probable. So, let me get Spherical Earth to off of mute here, because he's probably getting frustrated being on server mute.
Let him in.
Hey, Spherical, you're off of mute. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, Spherical. You have to press your little microphone.
He
He
knows.
can't hear you.
All these guys. The reason I did this on Discord is because all these guys are pretty much familiar with Discord.
Oh, I'm the only noob. Okay, fair enough.
Spherical. Try unmuting him.
Oh,
Where'd he
he
go?
left.
He went
What?
he went to general. Come back down. There you go.
And he's gone again.
Uh,
I'm interested to hear. I haven't watched a lot of flat Earth stuff. To be completely truthful with you, it confounds. It's equal part confounds and disinterests me, because I find it to believe that there's people that actually believe that the Earth is flat. It turns out that there are, but this is an entirely new realm for me. So I'm interested to hear how these conversations generally tend to go, so that I can get an idea of mindset. Because when you're thinking about how to communicate with people, it's very, very, very important to get a determination of their mindset and what helps them establish their belief structure. So I'm interested to hear how these conversations really go.
Well, Curved has a lot more experience with that than I do because he spends a lot of his time on Discord talking in person with these people, like not in person, but with voice, like we are now.
Okay, fantastic. I'd love to hear about it.
Well, not so much anymore. Not compared to before. Like on YouTube, I started off in comments and got quickly frustrated. People just, blocking you from the channel, blocking you from seeing their comments. Found Hangouts and really got into that and spent a lot of time listening to, Flat Earth videos and interacting with other people and talking about it on our own Hangout on a channel against Flat Earth. And that went on for, oh God, I may have done that for a year or more. That I was into it pretty regularly, very often, talking to these people, and most of them, yeah, I don't, they're different. They're not like normal people.
Okay.
Facts and evidence mean nothing. They're so paranoid. And then again, and everything that I'm saying, it's like I realize that they're, internet's full of trolls. I think I'm decent at picking out which ones are trolling and which ones are not, but you can never be sure. And I do
Right.
realize that. But, and I always, I never have a strategy. Most of them, like when they came to us, it would be to ask them questions like, why do you believe it's flat? And then try to counter all of the nonsense that they would post. And that's one way to quickly find out whether you're dealing with a troll that's just going down a list of all of the indoctrination that they've received. Eric Dubé's 200 proofs and, sort of things like that. Or if there's somebody that has actually put some thought into it and they're just confused. Many of them are so paranoid, they say they don't trust any information from a source that violates their confirmation bias. It's only things that agree with them do they accept. Once they have heard something about the flat earth, they bought into the conspiracy, if for no more than conspiracy's sake, because they like conspiracies. They lend credulity to conspiracies because of the fact that they are considered conspiracies. That gives a special credit in their minds, apparently. But in dealing with them, I'm not exactly polite, but I try not to be rude until they have, exhibited that they're trolling, they're just interested in getting a rise out of you or whatever. Anybody that will actually talk about it, I will talk with them about it as long as I can if they're actually having a conversation. Those people seem to be few and far between for me here. But like I said, no real strategy. Just try to counter, give them simple, easy to observe proofs and simple logic that they can go through to determine the shape for themselves, because I do understand a lot of people not having trust in NASA. It's not something you can verify for yourself. You either have to believe it or you don't. And regardless of what you know about physics and space, you kind of don't know. Although I'm not in any way advocating that NASA's up to anything, not on the level. But I understand that this is not something that they can deal with themselves. So I try to stay away from those things. And, NASA photographs, they believe every picture's fake. They believe NASA says every picture is fake. The crap they have in their heads is unbelievable. But anyway, yeah, my main interest is if you get to it, I don't know if you can, but it has to do with if you have tips on maybe how to identify a troll and how do you deal with them, if you should deal with them differently or just treat everybody as though they're serious and go through what you would do with a sincere believer, even if you think they're a troll. And I'll shut up now.
No, don't, please. No, that was all very valuable information, and I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate it. So there's a lot of takeaways from that for me. So when you're initially interacting with someone, I think I'll address your main question first, because that seems like it's your primary concern. And your main question is how to discern, if I'm understanding correctly, who is a troll. So who's just in it for the lulz, right? Who just wants to troll around and get into arguments, and they may not even believe that the earth is flat. They just want to, go get into internet arguments because it amuses them.
Exactly.
From somebody who is actually misinformed, genuinely believes the earth is flat, and has been misled by this sort of culture that's been built, by this troll culture that seems to have been built, that's giving out this misinformation that's potentially leading people astray. So this is going to sound like a difficult thing to do. However, when you're first engaging with somebody, you need to be patient and ask questions, and generally be interested in the answers to those questions, and not necessarily be interested immediately in countering. No, I know, believe me. Oh, believe me. Heaven help me. Believe me. And I don't even believe in heaven. So it's something help me. Believe me. I know it's difficult when you hear somebody say something that it's just so far off the rails that you can't even believe that they said it. To not be like, how can you not know that's ridiculous? Here's the reasons why it's ridiculous. Let me show you why what you just said is ridiculous. And instinctually, that's what we want to do. We want to just say, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. Here's why you're wrong. And we want to show them. Now, if you do that in every interaction, as opposed to displaying genuine interest in what they have to say, then they're going to shut down. They're immediately on the defense because they feel like they're being judged. And if you feel like you're being judged, you lose interest in your conversation partner and you go on the defense. If you genuinely hold that belief. If you don't genuinely hold that belief and you're just a troll, it won't matter because you're looking for an argument anyway. So, being calm and being kind can help you discern. Can help you discern who's a troll, because a troll is not going to be interested in you. If you're being calm and you're being kind and you're being genuinely interested in what the person has to say. It'll also help you retrieve more information about how they come to what they believe, how they came to their decision. People come to their decisions for a reason. If it's a troll, you're going to be able to tell because there's going to be holes in their story. There's going to be holes in their story. They're not going to be able to tell you how they came to the belief because they don't actually hold that belief. It's going to be that narrative is going to be filled with lies, and there's going to be holes in the story, and that's going to be how you're going to be able to tell. If they're not, if they genuinely believe it, and they believe that you care about what they're saying, then you'll be able to get more out of them, and the relationship you build from that interaction might be able to help you change their mind, because you'll build a trust.
I'd like to touch on that, Shannon, if I may.
Sure, of course, please do.
Yeah. I actually became involved and interested in flat Earth, based on a friend that was making a lot of posts, and so I kind of got really curious about it. Like, what's up? Because this is really, really different. But just like what you were saying, communication, kind of back and forth, like of being interested in why they believe in something. That's how Dave and I work. When I come up with something,
Oh, hello?
You broke up there, Ryan. I told you he was in the sticks. You thought you had it bad in Nova Scotia.
I know, right? There's literally cows outside. I thought I was in the sticks. It's just train tracks and cows where I am. How can anybody be farther in the sticks than me?
No, in order to get this channel going, I literally had to go and put a tablet on my cell phone account, so that we had some way to actually get on here so we could do this. I had been trying for months to figure out the best way to do that, because we also want tethering, so that if he does do experiments in the field, we can, he can put the tablet down and tether and have some other device where he can move around and do things.
Oh, for sure.
Ryan, are you coming back? Technical difficulties. So anyway, Curved, would you like to continue, or anyone else?
I'm still listening.
But
if she's still talking,
there you go.
There you go, Ryan.
No. Yeah.
Hi, Ryan.
Did I lose you guys?
Yeah, you totally went away for like the last 2 minutes.
Oh no!
I bet you've got some very insightful things too, Ryan. I'm sorry.
I'm sure.
I'm sure they were all delightful.
No, I was. Yeah. I don't know where I dropped out. So basically, my thoughts about the flat earthers is, like myself, when I became interested in it, is that these were objections or challenges, I should say, toward views that are merely just given to us, and we're just expected to take that knowledge without being able to really physically experience it ourselves. I believe you and Curve were talking about that we can't go to NASA. We can't experience these things kind of firsthand. The general public, So that's kind of challenging, especially when people are trying to come up with a bunch of facts. So a lot of the facts that they're trying to come up with, it's they're hard they're still harder to prove, based on our physical ability to be in another place. If it was as simple as jumping into a spaceship and take a look at the Earth and look from outer space,
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
hard to hear. I don't know if that's just me.
That was definite quake there. Could you, Ryan? You are breaking up. Try again.
Oh,
better?
Is that better?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I'm sorry. I must have been covering the microphone with my hand.
You were a robot. I moved the server to U.S. Central, so I think that might help.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
You're much better now.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not a robot anymore.
No robot. I don't know. I was just trying to touch base with, as far we were talking about the communication. I kind of got off rail there for a minute anyway, but merely communication and how you go about communicating with people. I really liked what you said there, Shannon, is really kind of trying to get, get into their interest about it, like wondering why they believe it, and what facts, really trying to get them to express themselves. Because to me, that actually really works quite well when you are trying to find information that could either be refuted or proved. Because if somebody's lying, they're going to end up saying something along the line that is that's going to be the telltale. It's going to be the tell. So
yeah, I mean, if the hard thing to do is to discern who's just in it for the sake of getting into arguments to amuse themselves,
right,
then really just presenting facts to a person like that, it isn't going to be beneficial. Just presenting facts to anybody, really, unfortunately, isn't beneficial. It would be ideal if it was. It would be ideal if you could say, these are valid sources. Here's the reasons why I trust these sources. Here's the math to prove X, Y, and Z. Here's an appeal to authority because, these scientists say this, and here's consensus, and the list goes on, right? Like if that was valid enough, then everybody would believe the same things. But people come to their beliefs in different manners.
Right.
And they distrust information that they receive for different reasons. And I mean, we live in a culture right now that's saturated with air quotes information. So people can easily find something to reinforce their misconception. When you're encountering somebody, if you are genuinely interested in changing their mind, and that's a question you need to ask yourself, am I genuinely interested in changing this person's mind? Or am I interested in presenting the counter evidence? Because those are two different things.
Right.
Changing a person's mind is a very individual thing. Presenting the counter evidence is sort of more unilateral. That's more something that you do so that it's on record for anybody who wants to view it. If you're interested in changing the mind of the individual you're interacting with, really the only thing that you could do is attempt to build a relationship with that person. And that involves patience. That involves patience. And that involves questions. That involves trying to figure out how they ascertain what they perceive to be truth.
You see,
and we all take for granted how we ascertain what truth is how everybody ascertains what truth is. And that's just not the case.
Right. I think that's what Curved was really expressing there with a lot of the trolls, is that a lot of the people on the internet are not on there to build relationships. They're on there just to receive and return, for lack of better words, the information that they see. They see it, they react, they return how they feel about it. It's just instant, whatever they feel. They don't necessarily think about it. They don't necessarily, and I'm not saying that just they. I mean, I'm even one that does this. I'm a person that does this occasionally. But for the most part, when I go on and I see something that really touches me, that kind of hits me in my belief core, I will kind of put it out there, my view. And if I get responses, that's great, because a lot of times I try and communicate with them about the subject, no matter what it is. And a lot of them, they're just hecklers. They just, hecklers and trolls. And then some of them, very few, will actually start a conversation with you. So to confirm what Curved was saying, that's the biggest challenge, is that the way people react to other people, especially ones that they don't know out there, there's a huge lack of communication and relationship building, like you're saying.
Hmm. Absolutely. And I can understand how you'd be inundated by people like that too, because it's I'm discovering as I mean, I've only been sort of wading into these waters over the course of the past, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 months. And I'm discovering that this is, this is the whole thing that people do to amuse themselves. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm involved more so in the atheist community, really, than
Mhm.
in the skeptic community, than the flat Earth community. But there seems to be an overlap.
There's a big one.
And, yeah, there seems to be an overlap. And what I've discovered is that if if somebody approaches me in that sort of, prove this and tell me why this happened and how do you explain this sort of manner, I
Mhm.
say, no, you know what? I completely understand. I'm gonna go back and have a look and see if you and I can have a conversation about, how I validate my beliefs and how you validate yours, and we'll see if we use the same methods, because maybe we're validating things differently. Maybe what I look at to decide why I believe something is true and what you look at, maybe they're different.
So
So
you're
so maybe there's
sliding
a
for
disconnect
common
there.
ground there?
Right, exactly. Maybe because as soon as you dismiss somebody, as the moment that you tell somebody you're wrong,
Right.
I'm right. No, do you want to hear that? You don't, right? Nobody does.
No, because nobody ever wants to be told that they're wrong.
Especially if they really believe it. And
Right.
those are the people that you want to reach. The people that don't really believe it, who cares? Right? Because
Right.
they're just being assholes.
Right.
Just for fun. Right? And they know it. The people who really believe it are the people that matter.
And don't,
And those are the people that you want to reach.
exactly. I was going to say that's exactly the people who I want to reach with my channel. I mean, that's kind of why Ryan and I actually wanted to start this channel, and I was glad Curved brought this up because it was just one morning I was talking to Curved, and he went away. I don't know why. Maybe he'll be back, but he he and I were talking, and he's like, how do you, he's, I was talking about how somebody has to want help in order for you to help them.
Right.
And he says, well, that seems kind of defeatist. And I was like, that's interesting. And that's when I decided to engage you, Shannon, because it was like, is there a way that we can help people without I don't want to be deceitful. I want them to come to the realization that they have a problem and that they need help, and to want that help willingly. But I also want them to look at the channel and say, hey, this is interesting. This is the information is presented in a way that I can understand it, and it makes me reanalyze my position.
Right.
The thing I want to touch on that, David, is that I think that the information has to be be interesting or desirable. Like I think that's where the whole flat Earth kind of, the whole theory or whatever. It's like, ooh, flat Earth, like, wow, that's something new. That's interesting. So some might refute it right away. They might just be like, you're stupid, you're crazy, what the heck? But others, just like me, I got interested. I'm like, what do you mean? You see things a different way, and if they went really far down the rabbit hole, then maybe maybe they're kind of stuck there or whatever. But I think that if they I kind of lost my train of thought on that one. So it happens to me sometimes.
Me too.
I was saying it has to be interesting. So just like when somebody is presented with flat Earth and they become interested in it, and then all of a sudden, they start refuting the globe Earth. it's most likely because they found something intriguing or something to stir them. So that way, in that essence, I think that if you're going to go about it without having to necessarily develop a relationship, such as the media that they're putting out there, there's no relationship with that. It's just, hey, take a look at this video. We're refuting the globe Earth. This is our proof. Take a look at our weather balloon with a camera and this, that, and the other. They're trying to make it interesting. So I think there's a couple of ways to go about it. There's Shannon's way, where trying to develop relationships with people to try and understand them better, and in hopes to gaining their trust, so that they can be presented better facts and willing to accept it that way, or giving them something that is irrefutable. You can't, like you cannot deny it based on the visual or physical evidence that you've provided in either a video or written or whatever.
Right. I agree with that on a certain level. So long as the person that you're attempting to communicate with values things that comport with reality.
Yes. See,
then you need an entirely different strategy.
Yeah, see, that's the whole thing with like a lot of concepts these days, that and the internet is and our computer technology to basically make artificial apps or avatars or whatever. Everything's kind of artificial, and with that, it brings forth something that is already within us human beings to begin with, and that's our active imaginations. And imaginations are kind of like a double-edged sword. They can be really good on one side, and they can be really bad on the other, depending on which on basically which side you're using it for. And I'm thinking, with an imagination, you can sit down and you can think of like how you want to build something. This building or whatever doesn't exist, and you only have a vision within your head, and that's using your imagination to do something great. But if you're going to use your imagination to tell yourself and everybody else a lie, then that's not doing anybody any.
I agree. There's a few people here that haven't spoken too.
Right, we got V-Man, who I'd also like to introduce, because V-Man is actually Vito D'Amico. He runs this show called The Wrecking Crew. I met him because Steve McRae and him were together in a hangout, and Vito and I have been doing a couple shows together as well. Vito, hello. Unmute and say hi.
Hi.
Vito?
He's unmuted.
Yeah,
I guess he doesn't want to say hi. Oh, yay.
We are lovers. You little shit.
Is that in the chat? Oh, I missed it. So, V-Man, do you do flat?
We can't hear you. If you're speaking, we can't hear you. There's something wrong with your mic.
We can't hear you, V-Man. You're typing, but you're not speaking. I don't think I've heard from Flashburn either. He's muted as well.
Let me make sure I unserver muted him. Yeah, I gave him the roles and I took his server mute off. You might have to look at settings, V-Man, to see if you've picked the right device for your audio input. Make sure you pick the right microphone. But yeah.
Well, in the meantime, do you have any feedback for me, or any questions, or any follow up. I mean, this is an entirely new territory for me to tread on.
Well, I
I
mean,
love communicating with people.
I guess I have questions because I recall that when you talked to Rand Campbell, um, when he told you that he believed that the Earth was flat, I do recall you that conversation was you seemed utterly just gobsmacked when he said that to you.
Because I thought that I didn't think those people were real. It's my fault. I'd heard about it and not literally, and I'm so
Can you
internet
hear me now?
naive.
Yes, we can hear you now, Vito.
Okay, then I'm so sorry. Continue. I was just thinking I've never gotten anything right on this piece of shit computer, so I
You
don't
did it
know
this time.
what it's like winning the lottery. Great. All right, sorry.
Mark
Go
the
on.
date. You did it. We can hear you.
I did it. I did it. I did it in my
I
pants.
did it so
Okay.
good.
All right, so let's talk about Splash, the movie. Now, all right, I'm sorry. Go on. I'll just shut up. All right, go.
No, now I need to know what Splash. Are you talking about Splash like the Bo Derek Splash movie?
Yes.
Or is this a different? Okay, yeah, okay. Let's talk about it. Let's do it. Let's go.
No. Just go. What you guys were talking about the conspiracy stuff. I'm sorry. I'm an imbecile. So, go. I'm trying to find you guys again. So my account. I don't want to lose you guys, and I'm scared. I can't see. How do I get back to that page? Let me go back. Now I'm worried I'm going to lose everybody.
You're still here now.
Yeah,
Are you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Are you still there? So do I go to my account to get to you guys? Where it says user settings, should I go to my account?
What are you trying to do?
I just want to go back to where people could write because I went to voice settings.
There should be a big giant X in the upper right that says escape, or it's in the X in a big circle.
Oh yeah, escape. All right, now I'm back. All right, fuck the hell I go through. I don't know. I hate fucking technology. Could you imagine being an Apollo? I know it never happened because I don't believe it, but could you imagine being an Apollo 13 and I was a commander? Could you imagine? Because I would totally, I would just scream out, it's Harris's fault. It's fucking Harris. He completely set us up.
Ed Harris is piece of shit. You're right.
This is bullshit. We're all gonna die because he pressed the wrong button. So that would be me. You would hear me just screaming and yelling and blaming other people. Meanwhile, I'm the one that turned the buttons. So I would go down.
Fuck that guy.
So yeah, that. Anyways, about the conspiracy theories I've had on the show, I've had a few people you might be interested in. Fuck, I've lost my train of thought.
You need to keep in mind that I'm an absolute noob to this entire
Yeah, so am I. I don't know that. I downloaded this what's his name? The guy who Steve McCrae. Is he listening?
I don't know.
Oh no.
All
He'd
right,
be all over the chat if he was. He's
all
actually
right, great.
right now.
Because have you ever seen him? He looks like Moses. I mean, he needs a shave.
I have seen him. Yes,
Jesus Christ!
I host series on his channel.
He's Gandalf the Grey.
I'm gonna send him a shaving. Like you, Dave. You've seen me. I look like a stud. Okay. I've got pecs. I mean, my legs. I swear to God, they're like tree trunks. Okay. And I'm not going to get into it. I don't want it to be.
You have to find me because you're my new favorite person.
I don't want to be a dirty pig, but I am known as, whatever. You know what I mean? So.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on, wait. Maybe my wife could hear me and she'll yell out "idiot." So I gotta be careful. Okay. So, all right. So, anyways, Steve looks like somebody that's never gone to the gym, who needs to shave, and what else?
He's a fantastic guitar player.
He looks so old now. I remember he looks like General Custard or something.
Oh my god. Stop. I like Steve.
So oh, I like you too. Are you the one with the cat? Because I'm the one with the yellow fruity. How do I change my color here?
I don't have a cat.
Who's Miss Shadow Kitty?
I have no idea where you
All
are or
right,
what you're looking at,
sorry,
but
I
I'm
read
Shannon
that.
too.
Okay,
Which one are... She's Pelagia's girl.
Pelagia's girl. What picture is she?
Woman, lady, wonderful person. Don't mean to be sexist.
Is she Shannon Q? That little underscore with the QO?
Yeah.
Correct.
All right, cool. That's great. So why do I have a yellow? Mine is yellow.
Yeah. Because you just created your account.
Yeah, I don't like the yellow thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just...
If you look in the chat, Spooky Bed Hair posted
all right, I'm not changing anything because that's too much info right there. So I don't want to screw anything up. So I'll just leave the yellow, and then Dave, when we're nude together in a bathtub.
Well, that's going to take a while because I'm not going to Canada, buddy.
Because
I'm in Canada. Are you in Canada?
If I go to Canada, it'll be to visit you and Paul.
Do you notice that anytime you think it's a romantic thing to go and have a bath together, and then you get up and you crack your spinal cord on the sink?
That's the worst.
And you do the whole, hokey pokey, and you're like, she's like, "Are you okay?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I can't feel my legs." So I've had, for conspiracy theories, a lot of people are listening to this. How many we got? 3?
12.
So great. It's like my show. It's like the Wrecking Crew all over again. So
we're getting
I got a new show. Do you like the new show I do for the kiddies? About the old shows that people used to watch. That's why I brought up Splash. I was like, because I like doing shows that were... I was watching Splash last night, not because I want to do a little show with another guy that looks like a... If he were to ever... He won't listen to this. But if he were... Like, if you ever look at people and you just think, if you were a girl, you would be like a fat Italian mother. That's what he looks like. He looks like a fat Italian mother. And the camera guy is a complete useless tit. So we do this show, and it's all about old shows that we grew up watching. And Splash, everybody said I was trolling, but I wasn't. I said Splash and The Shape of Water are pretty much the same movie. And they were like, no, it wasn't. A lot of women are like, no, it was a beautiful movie. No, it was all that.
And I'm like... Is The Shape of Water about falling in love with a mermaid?
No, it's falling in love with calamari. I'm like, all these women were like, all these women are like, what a beautiful movie. Oh God, it was so romantic. And I'm like, would you sleep with that thing? It looked like the thing from the Black. It looked like. Have you ever seen Hellboy?
Yeah.
Okay, the other, instead of the big red guy. The blue guy.
Yeah, the one that needs the water.
Yes, and eats rotten eggs. And they think that The Shape of Water, they had a kid, and that's how Sapien, his name was Abe Sapien, I guess. That's how he came to be. So this is a great show about me being an idiot. So, anyway, anyways, all the women were like, "Oh, this is wonderful. This is," and I'm like, this is the same movie as Splash from 1984. He falls in love with a mermaid or some creature from the water, and everybody, and the 7 people in the live chat are like, "No, it isn't. No, it isn't." But I really pissed off this one girl. She was like, "No, it isn't. It's a beautiful movie." And I'm like, "Of course, I think it's a beautiful movie. I loved it. I watched it twice." With clothes on. I totally enjoyed it, But when I watched Splash,
I need to find your goddamn channel right now.
When I was when I
Shannon
was in
Q,
the
you're in luck because I'm just putting it in the Discord chat and I just put it in the outside chat for everybody out there in YouTube
yes,
land.
it's between chlamydia and gonorrhea. It's between those two. So, uh, yeah. Anyways, the movie. Watching Daryl Hannah, she's still a beautiful woman. But when you saw her, that's why I wanted to see the movie again from last night because I love watching the old movies, and I think people totally forget, and I think that's why the Oscars. I think I was talking to you, Dave, about it. Why the Oscars have gone down is because I don't know. The movies just don't. As you get older, I guess there's so much more stuff out. I mean, look what we're doing right now. We're having a conversation, and hopefully we'll get to the topic in a minute.
We were on the topic before you got here.
We're having a conversation, and you know what? Before 15, 20 years ago, we could never do this conversations. So we would have to watch TV, or if you went and rented, like if you went to Blockbuster, you went with your girlfriend or whoever you were with, and you would rent a movie, and it would be kind of a fun thing to do. Because the next day you'd be like, I got to return this piece of shit movie, and it's like, this sucks, but at least I got free popcorn, and it's got to be in by 9 o'clock or whatever. But it was kind of fun, you know. And it was kind of like it forced you to watch these movies, and I think in this day and age, we don't have that anymore. We don't have that where you sit around with your buddy or whoever, and you could watch a movie, or like I love watching. And he moved away, which bothered me. We love watching UFO stuff, Bigfoot stuff, and because I sit there and go, yeah, bullshit, yeah, whatever. You stepped on a squatch. Let me get it. You know, there's a squatch over here, and somebody took a squatch, and I just took a squatch a second ago. You know, to me, it's like you could do that, and now these days, so much is going on that no one's watching. Shows like they used to. There's 1,000,001 channels out there. God, when I was a kid, and I don't want to date myself, we only had 400. That was a joke. I mean, we only had 12 channels. So I mean, all right. Well, let's get to the topic. I'm sorry to waste everyone's time about me and my old. I'm doing my nails right now as you speak, so I don't care. So what?
There you go.
What for the topic? What was the topic? Was you remember how you were saying flat earthers and stuff like that, like people that don't believe that stuff? Conspiracy theories, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
How to change people's minds.
That's the problem. Like before, now everybody believes it because this is my theory. Everybody has a YouTube channel, so anybody could spew out whatever they want, and you're going to get somebody that, like me, is on some heavy medication, and you'll sit there and think about it and go, "Yeah, he was right. They do, they never landed on the moon and this, and they never did that." And there, of course, there's a 9 foot 8-ton animal walking around the woods, that no one's ever taken a picture of properly. Of course these things happen, you will believe anything because everybody has a channel. I've watched a channel with Red going up against starts with a J.
Jeranism?
And that's it. And they will do battle, and it's fun to watch because I'm on Red's side. I don't mean to be biased, but I am on his side. I think if you think the planet is flat, you're going to the wrong doctor. I mean, you really are. I mean, if you think the planet is not round, but I don't get that part of it. And that is the part that we talked about last time, where people believe it, and now so many people believe it. It is very disturbing. Like I never. I mean, in school, if I said that in school, all the kids would laugh at me. Yeah, the planet's flat. Kids would laugh at you, make fun of you. And now you have communities of people saying, yes, the planet is flat. The planet is flat. And I went to a Catholic school. It wasn't like, it wasn't like, God said the planet is flat or any of this stuff. Like, yeah, even the priests knew that the planet was round. So I don't understand that part of it.
Well, V-Man, I'd also like to say I think, and I can't confirm it. I didn't live in the past or whatever, but that's kind of how people were treated and may have felt back when the people had proposed that they were around. Because I think in the beginning, everybody thought it was flat.
Is it me?
It's not you. It's this. Hold on a sec. It's this freaking server is in the wrong place.
Usually.
Hello?
He was going to say something absolutely amazing to
Ryan,
blow me away. And
try again, buddy.
Forever.
Try again.
Okay.
Look, he's still. Oh, God, I feel so bad for him.
Wow. Okay, I moved the server and you're still breaking up.
Alright, can he mime it?
I don't know.
It sucks. It's gonna bother me all night. I'm not even gonna sleep because of this. He has no idea what the hell he put me through.
Ruin.
I'm gonna just sit there and go, what was he trying to say? He's probably getting murdered right now. He's getting murdered. He's getting jumped.
There's no one out there to murder him except his mom.
Now I'm worried about him. Now I'm like, did he get jumped? Where is he? Is he on a... Like he's still... I don't know. Is he drowning?
Try now. Ryan.
Can you hear me better? Yeah.
That is better.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you better. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was moving around. I had to go get something for my truck, which is, probably...
Keep losing them.
Yeah, you need to stop moving, Ryan.
Yeah, stop moving the truck.
Okay, I'm stopping.
Find a sweet spot and stay there.
Okay. I'm finding the sweet spot right now.
You're in the sweet spot. Don't move an inch.
Are you wearing pants? It's important.
I'm in the sweet spot. Okay.
Oh,
I'm holding. I'm sorry. I'm very active. I don't like sitting for very long periods of time sometimes. So, but anyway, can you guys hear me okay now?
Yeah.
Yes, I can. I can.
Yeah,
Great. Okay. So what I was trying to say was that, to touch on what you said about how if you were in school and you were to say, that the Earth was flat, that you would be heckled and mocked. Right. I think that in the past, as far as what I know historically or whatever, is that people believed that the Earth was flat in the first place, and then as time progressed and scientific methods were developed, that it was then proven to be round. So I kind of think during that time that maybe if you were to be a globe believer during that time, you might have been heckled too. So it's kind of a weird twist.
Are you talking like 13th century?
Yeah.
Well, even before that, like when Eratosthenes discovered it in 2,200 years ago, I'm sure at that point in time he was unique in his belief.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's almost kind of like when a new idea kind of comes to the surface, or even an old idea that has been kind of hidden in a lost toy chest or something, that becomes surfaced again. People get excited about these kinds of things and want to play, in their heads. They want to use their imaginations. They're like, wow, you mean I don't have to believe that, what I've been told all this time is not true, and I don't have to experience it for myself. And see, that's the problem, is that people can't necessarily experience it for themselves. And again, it's very much like the internet kind of thing. You get a lot of information. There's a lot of information going out there, but it's truth and lies, and it's all mixed together, and it's out there for you to decipher. So I think a lot of that plays in with people's imaginations, and it's wrecking a lot of progress.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing that terrifies me, because if my son were to ever come up to me and say the planet's flat, I would beat him like in front of his mom till he said.
Oh my god!
I don't think you're full of shit, but anyway.
I feel like you might be lying.
No, I would.
I have a 7-year-old, and I think you're
him.
full of shit.
Well, mine's 10, and I've been training him. Like, I've been giving him steroids, because I said you gotta, because when you turn 13, you gotta fight me like a man. And he's been training. He's been training. So,
13,
no, I
you're
don't.
a pussy. I made mine fight me when he was 3.
Yeah, well, I fought mine when he was still in the womb. So I will go, no matter what you do, I will help you do it. I
punched that fish right in the stomach.
I pledged when I was 10, I said the firstborn will get a beating. So because I saw the whole Moses thing, which remember seeing that, like, was Moses the firstborn? Not Moses. I mean Ramses. Was he? Remember when God said, everyone will die. All the firstborn will die.
I think that's right.
Okay, well then why wouldn't Ramses die, like the Pharaoh?
Valid question. I don't have an answer for that. I don't
That's
have an
what
answer.
I always thought that as a kid, saying, well then, why kill all the kids? Just kill him because he's the firstborn.
You're right. That would have solved a lot of problems, right? That
Oh
like
yeah,
really
that would have really screwed up Cecily DeMille's movie. Going, I just blew $80 million on this piece of shit. Are you kidding me? We gotta get the blood in the water, and like, come on, this is gonna cost a fortune.
No, God works in mysterious ways, though. You don't understand. He works.
So yeah, so the whole thing about being laughed at and stuff like that. Yeah, but I think you would have got, like, progress. The past how many years? I just find it, I saw a video of a guy running up to, and this is an old video, running up to Buzz Aldrin, who still looks, this man must be 6'1" or 6'2", Buzz Aldrin. He's 80 years old. He was, the second man on the moon. And this guy that was much taller than him kept running up to him with his wife, and I thought it was pretty disgusting, and yelling at him, saying, hey, it's fake. The moon landing's fake. You're a liar. You're a liar. And this is talking to a man who, risked his life to go to the moon. I mean, this was not, this was, terrifying. I mean, if you put me, first of all, I'm claustrophobic. If you close that hatch on me, I would have just lost my mind. I would have been like, get me out of here, put the other monkey in here. I could care less about history. Just, I'm not going in here. So to be put in a rocket that is going to shoot you up into space, and to say that NASA, who had thousands of people working for them and thousands of people saw the launch, and to say that, that's all a lie, to say that it's just we live on a flat plane, it's crazy. I just find that crazy. I watched Eddie Bravo. I think his name's Eddie Bravo talk about it, and he was saying that you only get stuff off of NASA because NASA wants the money, right? They make billions of dollars, and if they don't say that the planet is flat, they won't make billions of dollars. And I'm like, Eddie, you've been hitting the head way too many times, pal. Like, but people watch this stuff and think, hey, he's got a point. I mean, all the pictures do come from NASA, and maybe
That's not
the
the case anymore.
astronauts were liars, and the people that worked on it, they all lied, and I just find that so hard to believe.
Well, but then you start really looking at that, and like Curved and I and Terman have been looking at this. I've been looking at it for. Oh, when did our mutual friend start spewing this nonsense, Ryan? Probably.
It was about a year ago or so.
Yeah, a little over a year ago, and I started looking he started throwing stuff up online, and
So you've been at it with one person for a year?
well, I mean, it's a mutual friend that we've both known for at least 20 years together.
And you just discovered they were a flat Earth?
Well, he told us.
Well,
See, I think during this time, bear with me here. During this time, that's when flat Earth was starting to be presented on Facebook quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so I think he was introduced to the idea, and once again he took off with it with his active imagination, being like, hey, just what if, he was kind of going through the what ifs.
Is he conspiratorial in other realms?
I think he has other reasons to be susceptible that I won't go into because it's personal for him. But it's let's just say he was in a vulnerable place and leave it at that.
Okay.
So he starts presenting his pieces of evidence, and to me, it was so he said the moon is. He shows me a picture of. He says the moon is fake, and he shows me this old picture of the moon in front of the wall.
Fake?
Yeah, fake.
Is that a component? Okay, so I'm such a noob. Is that a component of the flat Earth? The moon is fake?
Yeah, that's one of the arguments. It's fake somehow, fake. And I'm like, fake? How? What do you mean fake? I was like you, right now, the first time you've heard it.
Dumbfounded, what does that even mean? What do you mean the moon is fake? How? Is it a projection?
Yeah.
Is there somebody pulling it through the sky?
I was told it was painted on.
Yeah, there's
painted onto what? The firmament?
That's what I didn't understand. Like, the guy said it was painted on, and I said,
but why does it move and change?
Wouldn't birds fly into it?
If they could fly that high.
Yeah, I didn't understand, and I have lived with this person as a roommate a couple times, and he has a telescope. He's taking pictures of the moon with his camera through a telescope. And this was blowing my mind. I'm like, you have pictures of the moon. Right. How can you sit there and tell me it's fake? It makes no sense.
The moon itself is fake. I'm sorry.
I didn't understand it any more than you did.
I was very, very taken back by that. By
hologram, whatever.
Yeah. Well, the guy said to me his name was Logic.
Logic.
I can't remember. Anyways, he said that it was. I thought he was just joking, but he was being dead serious, and I just thought he's just having a laugh. And then after I talked to Hogtie Champ, and Hogtie said, no, this guy's dead serious. And Arcane Logo, that's it. And
Arcane Logos is...
That's who said that. He said it was painted on, and I said, I thought I thought he was just joking, but afterwards, it was very odd. Like I remember going to bed thinking, because after when Hogtie told me, he said, "No, no, the guy believes it," and I said, "There is no way people believe that the planet is flat and that is painted on, and we live in a glass dome, and are you nuts? We'd run out of air in about 15 minutes. What the hell are you talking about?" So it's like, it was just like, but people believe this, and it was very, for 3 days. You ever walk around in a daze, just going, what? Like you can't believe what the person said, because
That's how
That's
I felt.
exactly how Dave
Yeah,
was.
young Earth creationism did it to me, and then flat Earth threw me. Like, young Earth creationism did that to me, and then when I realized there was people that legitimately believed the Earth was flat, which is recent occurrence for me. I, I'd like everybody saw it live.
yeah,
Actually,
it's
when
weird. Like
I was talking to Fran.
you ever hear that Bob Enhart guy when he talked to Arn Raw about the dinosaur fossils? About they found dinosaur T-Rex dinosaur fossils with soft tissue in them, and I thought, buddy, you're an imbecile. Like you cannot. I mean, I just, if you thought 5 to 6 thousand years ago a T-Rex was running around, humans could not build. I mean, we would be stuck in caves still. Plus, if a bomb, like if they said meteorite came down, we'd be dead too.
I don't believe that though.
We wouldn't exist either. We'd be stuck in a cave, starving to death. So,
But they believe that dinosaurs were vegetarian.
yeah, that a T-Rex that has teeth
Yeah.
the size of your,
I didn't say it made sense. I
no,
didn't say it made sense.
it's insane. Like it's absolutely. But that's the thing. Like they'll always come up with
Right.
they'll always come up with an excuse, right? Like I'll go, if I say the planet is not flat, they go, "How do you know that?" "Well, I've been in a plane before." And then they'll say stuff like, "Well, the pilots have been taught to fly a certain way so they won't hit the roof of the glass."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, so my ex's uh, father was a pilot. Now, that man was no genius. Okay, they, like, I'm sorry, he just wasn't. And it was like when he was sober, thank God, it was like, tell me what flight, because he would fly straight into the moon. You know, I mean, if pilots are taught this, and think about the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of planes that are in the sky right now, and if you have you ever seen that model where they show planes, they show the Earth and then they show flight paths of planes, and it looks like they're coming in within inches of each other.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see that? It's like they speed it up and they speed up and you're like, all these guys got to watch each other, make sure they don't fly into each other, and they could only fly, um, a certain height, because if they go any higher, they're going to hit the glass or the dome. And Dave, you remember my buddy, who's a great guy, but he was coming out with these crazy excuses where he was saying, well, what if when you fly through the Earth? Thank God it's not a nude of me. I mean, I was really worried there. So I you fly through, um, the when the space shuttle goes in orbit or whatever, it punches a hole through the glass, and we could all die because the glass is broken, and the space could come in and take up all our oxygen. And I'm like, what is this, Spaceballs? Like, well, what the hell are you talking about?
You
Like,
know, they would call that the ozone layer. You know, like
yeah.
That's a good segue
Right.
though to introduce the new person on the chat here, Shadow Tier, also known as Vincent Jones.
I
Hey, guys.
talked to Shadow before.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
I wanted to ask you, were you ever on a show, Bear's Big Blue House?
No.
Okay, because there was a character called Shadow that used to piss me off. So
You're the one that brought up Red's rhetoric, V-Man, so Shadow's
Sorry.
kind of familiar with Red's rhetoric.
oh,
Who's
does
Red
Shadow
Rhetoric?
believe in flatter?
No.
Oh, thank goodness.
Quite
man.
the
I didn't-
opposite.
Because I'm. Oh, good. But I've met you before, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
Introduce
Shadow
yourself,
And that
Vince.
killed the conversation.
No, introduce
Sorry,
yourself,
no,
Vince.
all right.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's really not much to say. I'm just a guy on the internet. I take photos of various things like the International Space Station and occasionally act as a second camera for Red's Rhetoric when he
Oh,
needs
wow.
somebody else.
So were you there when when he took that crazy picture of the International Space Station flying
Yeah.
by the moon? Were you there?
Yeah.
You were there?
The latest one, yeah, I was there. The footage from the second P900 is up on my channel.
That is amazing. I love that. And I just tell people like how do you believe that the planet is flat? What do you think they painted that on? What do you think? That's a little model? Some guy sitting there, a little Korean guy with a little I shouldn't say Korean guy. That sounds terrible. Little Oriental guy. That's even worse. All right, little guy from Beijing. Ah, God, what is it with me and the Asians tonight? Anyway, did you believe that it was actually a little like because it looks like a TIE fighter. If you slow it down, it looks like a TIE fighter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do you believe that it's a guy sitting there with a little controller taking pictures of this thing, and it's only 500 feet in the air or 1,000 feet in the air, and he's taking this picture of a drone that looks like the International Space Station? I mean, these people will always come up with these ludicrous arguments that you just go, no, that's not real. That's not real, and it's crazy. And Red goes to great lengths to prove that no, man. How can you? I mean, he's not making any money off of it. He's just maybe he is.
No.
Not at the moment. Not
All
at the
right.
moment.
Well, I mean, he does it for a passion, and so do you. So you do it for a passion, and that's great. And I think that's why you get wonderful shots like that, because it's like, when you work with passion, you're like, hey, man, I'm going to make this thing look amazing, and it did look amazing. How can you argue against that? Like, how can you come up with what excuse can you come up with to sit there and say? I mean, put yourself in that jargon guy or whoever Arcane logo. Put yourself in their box and sit there and say, "Hey, man, you could still believe in God, but the Earth is round, and you're just making yourself not very smart, saying that the planet is flat. You're really making yourself like it's silly. It really is silly."
Yeah.
Well, again, I think they're the way I can't speak for exactly what they think, but I think what they're thinking is they're just kind of making themselves of their own virtual reality. It's kind of like, this is what I want to believe. And I mean, although there are some compelling facts that even roll around in my head still sometimes. Like for instance, in the case of water, water always seeks its level, and it never really bends, except for in the fact of a droplet.
Well,
So,
watch Red explain that. He explains that beautifully in a few debates he has. Watch some of his debates because you could see a picture and he'll go like this. He'll say, and this is maybe I've I could totally I usually screw everything up anyway, so never ask me for directions. I mean, I will you'll end up in the Orient somewhere. What is it with me in the Orient tonight, guys?
As long as I don't end up in Edmonton or Toronto, I should be okay.
So there's a lot of Oriental people there. So I mean, I don't get. All right,
Not
so I know you never there. So
where are you, by the way? You're a Canadian too, V man. Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in. Can you say Eskimo?
Eskimo. Are you in Nunavut?
Yeah, I'm in Nunavut right now.
Oh, okay, cool. Where, Iqaluit?
No, I'm not in Nunavut. I'm in London, Ontario. All right, so
why would you bring up Nunavut?
Nunavut, like God, that was a horror. Anyways, which a lot of the Nunavut people are related to Orient. All right, so the level. What Red said was, and it made sense. He says, "Look at this picture here, and there's a woman standing there, and behind her is a shelf, but the shelf is crooked. And he said, okay, so is that, even though it's crooked, is that shelf level? And yes, it is level, but it's like it's the way you're looking at it. I mean, you could just I mean, I'm not doing it any justice. If Red is listening to this, he is just going, I am going to beat the living shit out of him. So if you get a chance, watch how he explains that water, that whole level thing that you're talking about, and he does a wonderful job at it.
Okay.
Well, and to kind of bring us back to why Shannon's here, because I don't want to really. I mean, we got a notification that the Non Sequitur show is going live too, and I didn't realize that we were going to step on Steve's shows here. But the as far as addressing individuals, it sounds like we have to treat them as individuals and try to find common ground with them. Is that kind of where we're going with this?
I don't know where we're going with this.
Yeah, we went off the rails.
Yeah, it did. But
as soon as V-Man found his microphone, everything went off.
I'm so sorry. We should all watch Splash. Why don't we watch Splash? When everybody knew that the Earth was round, even the mermaids knew the Earth was round.
Mermaids, huh? Damn.
Is this Red?
Yes, it is Red.
No. This is Shadow Tier.
All right. Because you sound like you're at least 6'4".
I sound like I'm at least 6'4". Well, I did grow spontaneously.
Hold on, no, 6'5". How tall is Red? 6'6", 6'7"? He's about the size. He's as tall as a Sasquatch.
Yeah, I would say about as tall as a Sasquatch. Definitely.
So, no, I love your videos. If I screwed up with the, anyways, I missed you, and I wanted to tell you do awesome debates, man. You do awesome debates.
I do awesome debates. Well, could I ever fail being, the type of people I debate against?
Well, I see you go up against guys, and the arguments are. I saw you last night with some Swedish girl, or she was Dutch, and which.
You're talking about Betty? Yeah, Betty Van Velsen, right. The perspective woman.
Yes. Which I just thought, man, how do you not? Because I would literally. I woke up 3 or 4 times during that because I was constantly punching myself in the balls until I passed out. It was like, I don't know how you, and people will say, they'll go off topic by saying, well, Red is a very he's very mean, or he could, he could be mean. And I'm like, buddy, if you were to get in a room with me and argue over something as ridiculous as the planet being flat, I don't know how you can keep it together without exploding on somebody, like literally just saying, "Are you, bleeping moron?" And
Yeah.
It's not like he hasn't.
well, yeah, but he's kept it together very, I mean, what I liked was how when you spoke with some of the people, you would say, if you show me respect, I will show you respect. If you don't show me respect, I show you no respect. And
Yeah.
that immediately sets the tone that I like, that where they understand that they're not going to act like goofballs, because what they're saying is kind of goofy. But the video that you shot with the ISIS, not ISIS, with the International Space Station was absolutely amazing. And I even put on my 2 cents. I said, I even said it looked like a TIE fighter going at 400 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's
And
the running joke, that the International Space Station looks like a TIE fighter, and that
Yeah.
there's most of the comments that I get are not exactly hater comments. They're just Star Wars related comments, because it does look like a TIE fighter through the P900.
yeah, it looks absolutely amazing. And for you to video that, and the other person, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. The other
Uh,
person.
yeah, it was Astronomy Live. Myself and Vincent Jones were there.
Yeah, Vincent did an awesome job. I mean, you guys did an absolutely. And I mean, if I was a flat earther, I would watch that and just think, wow, that is, there it is. Like, look at that. Like, I don't understand how you could argue with that. I don't understand how you could. It's very, it's creepy, and it's just. And if you believe in God and everything, you could still believe in God. But if you believe the planet's flat, that just tells me you didn't really, you were in school, but you didn't really listen.
Yeah, it's honestly, now there's a lesser known guy on here called Mike Hemlick. We call him Mike Heimlich Maneuver, and he admitted that my footage was real. But I guess now what he's trying to say to get around the fact that the International Space Station exists is he's trying to say that it's a hologram at this point.
Yeah, Shannon,
Yeah,
this
I mean,
is this
geez,
goes
I don't know
along
what
with
to-
the moon is fake stuff.
Yes, the moon is a hologram. The International Space Station is a hologram. It's a drone. Of course, we shot that one out of the sky, quite literally. And it comes to a point where they want the conspiracy to be real so much that reality doesn't actually matter. And part of me actually wants them to come to that realization on their own by simply asking them some very hard questions and saying, hey, if I were to show you this, what would you think of that? That's a very hard question. And a lot of them simply do not want to admit it. I mean, how long did it take Mike to actually admit that my footage was real? Like a month and a half? About 6 weeks. It took 6 weeks for that guy to just go over this footage multiple times, use all sorts of programs, I'm sure, to try and debunk it or whatever. And at the end, he goes, well, it's real, but that must mean that it's a hologram. So the possibility of it being real is not something that you're willing to consider? No, it's definitely a hologram now. Now I know how they're faking it. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, sounds good.
Do you remember? And this was a couple of years ago. You were having a hangout, and there was a guy. And it turned out after you were trying to explain to him. Everybody in the chat was trying to explain to him that that the planet is not flat. And it turned out we all had a huge laugh, because it turned out he was trying to say something, but it turned out he was saying that he's done a lot of drugs, and that's why he believed that the planet was flat, is because he listened to people, and he was on some heavy duty drugs.
Yeah.
And what I remember, what was so cool was Red said, hey, you give me your address and I will buy you a telescope, and I will write out exactly what to do. It was so nice, and I just thought, eh, a lot of people wouldn't do that, and I just thought that was really a really cool move. And the guy was he started crying. He was very, because he's like, he felt like people were picking on him, and it's like,
I think you're referring to the gentleman by name of Seth, and I think he was on like, I don't know, it must have been like heroin or something. I'm not
yeah,
exactly sure
yeah.
what it was on, but yeah, I do remember that conversation. Surprisingly, he never actually got back to me, so that was the last time I ever spoke to the kid.
I wish he did, because it was kind of sad in a way, but it just showed what kind of heart you have to sit there and say, you know what, if you don't believe me, I'll prove it to you. You give me your address, I will buy you a telescope, okay? And
Yeah.
I remember that, and I just thought, a lot of people wouldn't do that, and he just said, listen, you go to the library, I will give you, this is what you need to do. You gave him all the information, and I just thought that was one of the coolest things. I mean, most of the time, I'm either threatening somebody's life on this thing, or arguing over trivial things, but I thought that there was science. That was like, you're trying to help somebody to, maybe this is going to help them to see the world differently than seeing it through their stoner buddies that say ridiculous things like the planet is flat. And the planet's flat. I mean, I don't know. It was very it was very kind of you. And for
Well,
people that say that you're not a nice guy, I thought that proved them totally wrong.
Well, one thing I always say is that I actually agree with them in one aspect. I'm an asshole, but the part that they leave off is that I'm fair. And that if you are nice to me, I will return that kindness or that generosity.
Right.
I'm more than happy to have a civilized conversation with someone, but if they automatically jump to the conclusion that I'm lying or that I'm a NASA shill and I get paid for posting crap online, then at that point I have no respect for you, because at that point you're not judging my arguments on their own merits. You basically, it doesn't matter what I look like, what I do for a living, where I live, or whatever. It doesn't matter. But the very moment they try to go to some dishonest tactic like that, then they're not interested in having an honest conversation. And if I'm taking time out of my day to talk to you, and you're not willing to have that honest conversation with me, then at that point, all respect goes out the window.
But I've seen that, Red, and what it is, and I'm old enough to know this. When you're losing an argument, you start grasping, okay? And you will use that tactic, and it is a very childish tactic, and it might work if you're a young person and you're listening. You're like, "Whoa, that has a point." But if you're over the age of 20, no, that you realize that the person is losing the argument, and they're gonna use something. They're gonna say something really stupid like that.
Of course, but the argument always falls apart when I make them these types of offers. For example, I told Jaron that I would happily invite him down to Florida so he can see a Falcon 9 or Falcon Heavy launch for himself and see boost back for himself, because his biggest hang-up right now is the live footage, not only from me, someone who doesn't work for SpaceX or NASA, but SpaceX and NASA themselves. And I go, okay, well, if you're not going to trust cameras, if you're not going to trust, the official source or the news outlets or our simple word of mouth being actually there, then how about this? How about you come down to Florida and you see one for yourself? I offered to pay for that dude's plane ticket, and I offered to pick that dude up from the airport. I mean, his burden, because he has to look at my hideously ugly face the entire way there. And I invited him to actually come to my spot, which in my opinion is the best spot to actually view these things, and see a landing for himself. And there's actually a hashtag out there dedicated to it called #Where'sJism. So he has that opportunity.
Sorry, did
He
you say
has that offer.
Where's Jism?
Yes, where's Jism? That's his nickname.
Where's Jism? So
Yes.
yeah, I think the thing is, what happened there is you literally put the fear of God in him, because
I literally put the fear of God into him. I go, well,
because
honestly,
what happened?
when you hear that triple sonic boom, you feel it in your balls. So yeah, you definitely feel God right there.
Well, I think that he'd be scared, because he would see that he's been wrong. He's made countless videos, and he would have to go back and delete all that stuff, and that hurts.
I mean,
I would take you up on the if I wanted to know the truth. I mean, we're all seekers of truth, in our own way.
I was even going to offer to give the dude a T-shirt that said the Falcon 9, because you can't pray this shit into space.
Right. Well, I mean, there you go. And I mean, you're trying your best, and you could only, gee, I mean, you're paying for the man's flight. You're paying, I'm sure, geez, the flight alone costs a lot of money, and to do all that, I mean, come on, to be a flat earther and have somebody say, hey, I'll fly you down there. I'll show you this stuff. I'll show you that. Come on. Yeah, I would take that up, but they don't want to believe it.
They are not seekers of truth. Now, I'll tell you another story. There was this like ravine or whatever they call it, a big long channel of water in California. And what they were going to do is that they were going to do a curvature experiment. And much to their credit, this channel of water is long enough in order for you to detect curvature. It's there. There was a professional surveyor that was willing to fly out to California when they were doing this and use his own equipment and his expertise to show that there actually is curvature over this body of water. And what they did instead was ignored him, not responded to him. In fact, they acknowledged his existence, so it's not like they didn't admit that they were informed that this offer was there, but they simply ignored his response to be willing to go out there, and they decided to screw this up in the most epic fashion I have ever seen someone screw up. You know the saying, you could fuck up a wet dream? They could fuck up a wet dream, an anvil, and just walking in that order.
Yeah.
It was bad.
It's sad. Like, it really, it makes you, I hope, and I always say this, I go, if they have kids, I really hope they don't pass that on to their kid, because a kid always looks up at their parents, and I always tell my kid, like my kid says, Dad, do you believe in God? Because they always listen to me cursing God. And they said, you believe in God? And I go, I personally don't.
Mm-hmm.
But, if I want to leave it up to you, you never follow me. And my wife's like, yes, never follow him. And I go, never, you make up your own mind, okay? You go out there, but I'm going to tell you right now, show me what you're looking at, okay? And
yeah, exactly.
Because if you're looking at some Looney Tune guy that is crazy, I'm going to tell you this guy is not the right person to look at. Not and people could say, well, you're being you're being the boss. You're forcing them to watch what you want to watch. No, I just want to make sure they're not watching stuff that is clearly a lie. Okay?
Yeah, I don't like how they're lying to people and possibly making some funds off of it.
Yes,
but I do have some stuff in the pipeline that will, take that demonstrably false information and ram it up their backside. So I will go ahead and say stay tuned for that. But what I was actually here for, let me hand you back over to Vince. So Vince, remember that one tower you wanted to take? That one thing that we're not going to tell people about? Yeah, they apparently said it's haunted, so we're going to go ahead and take that on. So I'm going to thank you for letting me speak to you guys. I'm going to hand you back over to Vince right now.
Thanks for joining, Red.
It's good seeing you, Red. Miss you. You're the best, man. Gave up the great work. He gone?
Yeah, he's gone. Vince is probably going to come back shortly.
I can't stand that man. He always thinks he's right. He really knows his stuff. I mean, he really knows his stuff.
He does. Reds is a very smart person, and he's been doing the anti-flat Earth stuff a long time.
Yeah. And I always see him battling it out with guys, and I'm like, I wish more people would take on the battle,
But
because he really does go, toe to toe with these people.
but
And it's like,
he's also, but Vincent, or it's not Vincent, Vito. Got too many V people in here now. Vito, he's the also kind of the reason why I personally, he's already doing that. He's doing such a good job. I personally don't want to duplicate that work. You know what I'm saying? I want to put my effort into like why we called this hangout. Like, how do we reach these people on like Shannon Q was saying, on an individual basis? We need
what you do is
we treat them but we meet them and find their middle ground.
How you beat people like that, and this is my experience, and I go about it the wrong way. Okay, I go about it how you do it, and this is the truth, with kindness.
Yep.
And if you're kind to them and you tell them, listen, you could believe what you want to believe, and I'll believe what I believe, but I could only give you so much. I mean, one of the reasons why I have to say I'm an atheist, agnostic, whatever you want to, because I do believe there's got to be, anyways. So, but I don't believe in a God of the Bible or any of that stuff. So, Aaron Ra, I used to think was pure evil. I would look at this guy's videos and just say, hey, this guy is he's evil, but he was never rude. He was never, I never watched him call anybody an idiot. Even Seth Andrews was very kind, and even David Smalley was very kind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you after a while, you look back at what they say, and it will haunt you at night. You'll think about it. And I remember listening to Aaron Ra, where he talked to Bob. His name was Bob Enra, the same guy who thinks, the Earth is 5,000 years old. And it was a great discussion they had. And I think it's about 4 or 5 years old now. But great discussion. And Aaron was very polite to him, and never, could have called him an idiot or been rude to him. And with people, see, the thing is, the problem is people think atheists eat babies, right? So once they see that an atheist is somebody that just doesn't believe the stuff that's that's been told to them to follow, they all of a sudden realize that, what, atheists aren't that bad. They're actually very nice, and they are the most trusted. I mean, I've had more Christians screw me over than any atheist, So you kill people with kindness, and I think that's where, even Red said, I'm nice to you, but once you're not nice to me, I'm going to treat you, with the same respect you treat me. And I think that is his way of going about it, and I that's the way I would go about it too. But I think you give people the evidence and you let them walk away with it. Either they could take it or they don't. But in the back of their minds, it will always haunt them. It will always bother them. Well, they'll come back, and if they really want to know, they will look it up for themselves. And that's all you can do. I mean, you could argue with somebody to the blue in the face about the planet and the dome, and it's a hologram, and then they'll say no, it's painted, and then there's a glass ceiling, and until you're like literally blue in the face, and you'll finally just say, I'm tapping out. Good luck. All I worry about is if the person has kids, and I hope the kid just comes to the realization that you know the planet is not flat. That's ridiculous. The dad was a little goofy, and I love my dad, but or my parents or whatever, but I believe in this and they believe in that, and that's the only way people are ever going to grow. But if you shove stuff down people's throat like you're an idiot, you're stupid, you're dumb, they all it does is it makes them not want to believe more.
It gets their defense mode up.
Yes, it's like, and to me that's an excuse, but you know what? You get more people if you're nicer to them.
Well, Vince, you came back on, so
Yeah.
what was this nonsense about it, or this not nonsense? What was this about a tower?
Oh, Box Tower in Central Florida. It's actually the highest point in Central Florida, so we were gonna try and get some footage from over there.
Oh, okay. I feel like I'm missing out because I don't drive. Because I'm right over here in St. Petersburg, and these guys are going out there having all this fun. Like, they went to Venice Beach to shoot that footage. That's literally like an hour away from me.
Yeah, Astronomy Live was a little upset.
I'm gonna go to the what do the French call it? Les toilettes in 1 minute. The place is haunted. Was he telling the truth there?
Well, they allege that it's haunted. So
That's awesome. God, I used to do a show called Spirit Seekers. So it's all about it's a joke about ghost hunters. So
Yeah.
if you don't mind, I'm going to put a little link on it and tell me if you like it or not. Because when you're there, can you take a lot of pictures of it?
Oh
And
yeah.
if you see it, and please post them, okay? So I'll be right back. Sorry, guys. And I'm sorry, Dave. I know I babble. Dave's like, why did he come on? Why did he come on?
No. I mean, I cannot. I started my own channel, my own show on my own channel. Prove it. And Vito, I don't know if this is a tacit partnership between you and me, but we're basically starting our own thing too. Like, occasionally we do our own shows about stuff. We'll start up a hangout on Vito's channel, and
yeah, and it always veers off to making fun of Orientals or something really offensive. So we've got to stay on topic, guys.
well,
Got to stay on topic. Every time me and Dave hook up, we take a bath and we discuss what kind of shows we want to talk about. And it's really cool. I think it's with a glass of wine, and it's a sweet little. All right, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
later. Yeah, Vito's a comedian
Oh yeah.
in real life. So if you go look at Vito D'Amico's channel out there in YouTube land, for all 9 of you that are watching me now, which I appreciate, he's got some really interesting footage. So,
And then of course he does the Wrecking Crew comedy podcast.
right.
Or at least he used to.
Well, I think that's what we're trying to revive. We're just trying to find out when, and then of course we're going to do the Prove It thing. So, with my channel,
Awesome.
which is kind of like I said, I don't want to take Red's doing what Red's does, and he's doing an excellent job. I don't see any reason to duplicate that work. I'm more than willing to help out where I can if he needs it. Like, if you guys need an extra hand when I get to that point. But at the same time, it's like, I want to do experiments. I'm not interested in specifically debating people one-on-one like he does, because to me, I just want to take this point, like, okay, the Earth is a sphere. Great, the Earth's a sphere. How do we prove it? And that's why it's called Prove It. Well, how did we first figure that out? Oh, Eratosthenes. What did he do to prove it? And let's do that now and see if we can get the result. See if we could duplicate that experiment. And that's what we're going to do. Ryan's in Colorado. I'm here in Florida. We can figure out the distance and longitude and go from there. Do the math.
Yeah. Basically, you're going to do all that stuff that flat earthers say they're going to do, you know?
Right. And we're going to do it, and we're going to post it.
We don't say that we're going to do it. We'll actually do it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You're doing all the stuff that they say they're going to do and never do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that Red and I will probably be out at the Skyway Bridge at some point within the next month or 6 weeks. When we go out there, if you want to meet up, definitely let you know.
Will do. I mean, that would be awesome if, I don't know what I can contribute at that point, because you guys are the ones with the cameras in the car, so I'm just hanging out in St. Pete. But, I've got a DSLR. Not that it has 2,000 times zoom or anything, or 2,000 millimeter zoom.
We got like the two P900s and then two GoPros and then maybe another camera. And I don't know if Astronomy Live is going to be there for that one or not.
I've got a GoPro and a Nikon D3400. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I would be more than interested in going with you guys to do that stuff. So. And things seem to be winding down. We've been broadcasting for basically 2 hours. So, everyone, this has been Prove It Live, special edition featuring Shannon Q. And we have done our piece. I am going to end the stream at this point. Everyone have a good night.
Thanks. Hey, thank you for having me.
Hey, no problem.